CIC, we are seeing some sort of, ethnic undertones and some sort of ethnic mobilization. We hear leaders left, right, and center talking about, for example, the Speaker of the National Assembly talked to the Kalenjin community saying, they are the first and the last line of defense of the head of state. We see leaders talking about, their communities coming together. What do you have to say in regards to matters, the ethnic mobilization or, undertones that we are witnessing as a country?
Thank you very much, my brother. Of course, those undertones are not healthy. As a country, we cannot afford to go back to politics of ethnicity. We cannot go back to politics of regionalism. We've been with Kenyans for the last almost 6 years, working in all the 47 counties of this country. And what we heard was that Kenya and Kenyans are not ready to go back to where we were in 2007. That is kwa kauli moja. Wakenya wamesema hawatathubutu. They will not go back to that kind of a scenario. And we thought, as time went on, that we were out of the woods in terms of going back to the ugly pictures of ethnicity. And even the last general election was a milestone in our country, whereby the campaigns were mostly on issues. And we thought we are now free from ethnicity. But now the undertones that you mentioned and that we're hearing from all corners of this country is very unfortunate. And as NCIC, we are worried as a commission. It's not good. And we must do something. We must dialogue as a country so that we chart the way forward for this country, that we get out of the ethnicity politics, okay, of now going back to that very primitive kind of politicking, of creating, euphoria, okay, in your region, so that leaders think with that euphoria they can be elected very easily by their people, or what they call their people, because it's not their people. The people of Kenya are all our people, because we are brothers and sisters, all of us in this country. So if a leader says that my people, then he doesn't deserve to be a leader. Okay. That's not a leader for Kenyans.
Okay, fair enough. Wakili Joshua Nyamore, the state of affairs in the country, we see political leaders, making sentiments that are likely to, probably divide the nation. Is this concerning to you to begin with?
It is concerning, Ian. I mean, we have a sad history, the history of 2007, and other moments of conflict. And we should, as a country, not go back there. And, it's unfortunate. It's not Kenyans who are not united. Kenyans live together, do their businesses together, borrow from each other, lend each other, and so on and so forth. However, the problem we have is because of elite dishonesty, because the elites are trying to pursue their self and group interests at the expense of the nation, and using ethnicity as a mobilization tool. So it is important that Kenyans decide to keep away from leaders who are mobilizing around ethnicity and build a nation. Definitely the Commission has its job cut out for it. And it's this moment when we need the Commission to stand out, and the rest of us who believe in Project Kenya to come out to support them, to to ensure that this country can be united, even when we disagree on policy and programs.
Okay, fair enough. Allow me to cross over to Studio B and engage Bentura Kumboka, who is letting us know what Kenyans are saying in regards to the state of affairs in the country and where the country is headed, to be precise. Bentura.
Yeah, to the People's Dialogue, definitely we'll be having that conversation about the state of the nation. Where is the country headed as a nation, especially when we're coming back to the number of demonstrations that we've been having, especially from the young people who are agitating for better governance, for better economic times. And definitely I will be taking your feedback on this particular discussion right here on K24 TV. Remember, you can send us your feedback and the question that we are asking you tonight. Is the nation headed in the right direction? We are asking you, where are we headed as a nation? You can send us your comments, your feedback. I'll be reading them right here at K24 TV. Remember, you can follow this particular broadcast across our social media platforms at K24 TV on X, on WhatsApp. Also, you can send us your feedback on WhatsApp, and also you can follow this particular conversation on our YouTube page at K24 TV. And I'll gladly take in your feedback and read some of the comments that you have about this particular discussion. And now I cross you over to Theo Macharia, who's with a panel here that is going to discuss about that and just unpack on where are we as a nation, both economically, socially, and politically.
All right, thank you so much, Bentura Kwamboka. All right, and now tonight we shine our spotlight on a crucial aspect or a crucial matter. Tonight we ask, is Kenya at a crossroads? And to help me make sense of this conversation is a panel. And now this panel includes Patrick Osoi, who is a security and governance expert. And also on my immediate right is Bishop Dr. George Kamau, who is also joining us tonight to help us make sense of this conversation of whether Kenya is really at a crossroads. And also on the other end, we have an activist by the name Julius Kamau. This is a wall-to-wall and a packed conversation tonight that you'll be sure to stick and get every second and every feel of this. This is Studio B, and this once again is the People Dialogue. Over to you, Keitani.
Theo Macharia later on. Now, let me come back to Honorable Farah. NCIC has been on the spot in regards to, how they do conduct or do their, they do their mandate. At one point, the commission did summon one regarding Gachagua in regards to the sentiments he made over, 2007 looking like a Christmas party. But the commission has been accused of not being, being unfair and not being straightforward in terms of how they approach the issues and, summoning leaders. They say you do target opposition leaders more and turn a blind eye when leaders allied to government do make remarks that are concerning and are likely to divide the country. What do you have to say in regards to that?
Far from the truth. We equally treat persons who violate the law. That is the NCIC law, the Constitution of Kenya, and all those laws that govern this country. You should have alerted me. I will have come with the list of the people on the radar, and you will have seen that is the government side is more than the opposition that you're talking about. And I don't know which opposition you're talking about, because I don't know there is an opposition in this country. Is it?
The team led by Rigathi Gachagua, because that is the outfit now referred to as the opposition.
That is what is called opposition?
Yes.
Yeah, so then, if that is an opposition, they have got the minimum number of people on our radar. Minimal. The other team is bigger. So we are not targeting any group. We are targeting the statement as it is. For example, the last 2 weeks, you had some two elders made some funny statement in Rift Valley. They are not from Wamunyoro side. They are from the other side. You just mentioned at your introduction the woman MP from Wajir.
Yeah.
She's on our radar. I mean, we are not targeting one side, but we are targeting the person who is making the statement.
Now, before I go to my next question and probably engage Wakili, there are claims that NCIC is underfunded. If the sentiments by Githinguri lawmaker Gathoni Mushomba is true, in fact, she said defunded. The NCIC is defunded. Are you guys defunded or are you underfunded? And if so, how does that impact the work that you do?
True, we are underfunded, and that has impacted a lot on our work. And then, the work we are given is huge. What Kenyans know about NCIC is hate speech. That's Section 13 of the Act, which is, I think, 2 or 3 lines in a very voluminous act called the NCI Act of 2008. We have a huge mandate to do in this country. The biggest being peace building, civic education, research, investigation, and all those sectors need proper funding, which the Commission at the moment is lacking. But we are very hopeful that we are talking to the authorities concerned, and we are hopeful that we will be funded adequately very soon so that we can undertake our job.
So how much is allocated to NCIC?
Right now is around 511 million.
And what is the exact amount of money that you guys need to fully conduct your mandate?
From where I sit, for NCIC to function as required by law, according to the mandate of the Commission, NCIC needs a minimum of 1.5 billion shillings so that it can function as required by the law itself and the mandate that we are given. Remember, we are even supposed to do follow-up on marginalization. We are even supposed to follow up the budgeting of this country, how it is budgeted, whether it is equitable or not. So you can imagine the work that we are given is a very huge work. So we need a minimum of 1.5 B.
Okay, fair enough. Let me come back to you, Wakili. Wakili, from shoot to kill, from the CS of Interior, to shoot to injure, from the head of state, to now not shoot to kill, but shoot and kill, from the chairperson of the Defense and Foreign Relations Committee. Are we a country that is governed by the rule of law? Because these sentiments are really concerning, especially, shoot orders from the head of state.
Now, the sentiments by the chairman of the National Security Committee was definitely an overreach, shoot to kill. My view is that what the president mentioned and the context in which he mentioned it, and what the CS for Interior mentioned and the context within which he mentioned it exists in law. And I would want to invite you, Ian, to look at Article 238 of the Constitution that talks about national security, but also look at the Police Service Act that mandates the police to protect life and property, and appreciate that there are certain circumstances in which it becomes inevitable for the police to then use force, and this force includes the lethal force. But what is important is for the force to be necessary and reasonable, and that is a measurement done after the fact. The discretion on how to use the arms at any one point is on the policeman, who is then expected by law to not misuse their firearm. Okay, so my point, if you allow me just to finish this point.
Okay.
My point is that it is unlawful for police to misuse firearm, to use excessive force, to use it when they could use other means. But however, it is lawful for police to resort to use of his gun, to scare, to disarm, and to protect life and property, especially when attacks are targeting innocent members of the public, private and public property, security installations, or the life and security of the policeman himself. For instance, this lady policeman who was being attacked in the streets, and one of the Gen Z went over her to protect her. If that police lady had a gun, she was, justified to use the gun to protect herself. However, the guy who shot karaoke in the streets, the guy who was selling masks, had no justification for doing that, and that guy committed murder, and he has to go in for murder. And I am happy that IPOA processed him and is in court on a charge of murder.
He said, shoot to scare. Use the term scare, but we're having orders to shoot and kill. Those are completely different things.
I would wish that you played the clips and the context within which the president and the CS spoke. I have watched them severally, and as a lawyer, I have read the law, and then so there would be no justification, there would be no protection under Article 37 or any article in the Constitution for a gang to attack a police station, to set the police station ablaze, to set the vehicles there ablaze, or to attack the businesses in Nyeri, in Meru, or at the OTC. Such a person has no protection in law. Such a person, the police has a mandate to arrest them if the police could arrest them. But being violent groups that, even carry arms against the police then is allowed to use reasonable force to be able to, arrest them. But if they are a threat to life or a threat to national security, then the police are under obligation to use whatever resources they have, and these resources include the guns. It is important to know, Ian, that this country since independence has been budgeting for guns and budgeting for bullets. Okay, we don't buy them for sentimental reasons. Okay, and they're both using our taxes. They are both to ensure that there is stability in the country. They are both to ensure that our private and public property are not set ablaze by gangs who are mobilized by politicians. They are both to ensure that our installations and monuments of democracy and national security are kept safe. Okay, so it is important not to lie to our people, not to lie to the public, that politicians can mobilize our youth into gangs to engage in criminality, and then all of us will walk back home safe. That would be a lie.
You see, the conversation has been, but before I go there, who do the police take orders from?
It's very clear it is law.
Because on one hand, Wakili, there's before I rope you in, on one hand, there's the head of state saying the police are independent.
I wonder why.
Let me just finish, Wakili. Let me just finish. We saw the CS for Interior while appearing before the National Assembly and the Senate in regards to the death of Albert Ojwang, talking about, he has no mandate, constitutional mandate on, directing how the police will do their job. But a few days later, we see him telling the police, shoot to kill. So do they take orders from the president or from the CS, or are they guided by law?
When you keep repeating the word you shoot to kill, I didn't hear those words. But then I am here in this studio saying that the police have authority within the law, within the Constitution, to use their arms when necessary and when reasonable, and use them in necessary and reasonable manner. Ensure that they do not misuse their arms. I am saying it as a Kenyan. Why is it not that the president cannot say it? The president did not order the police to use their arms. He stated it's in the law.
Wait. He said they can be shot on the leg.
And that
is what the president said.
That is in the law.
Where exactly?
The law. When the law allows the police to use a gun, okay, because we buy for them guns which have bullets, to when necessary. That means that when a bullet is shot from a gun, one of the most likely results is that it will harm. It is also possible that it will kill. Isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah. And so we should not lie to ourselves that those guns are carried for sentimental reasons. Those guns are carried to be used when necessary and only when it is reasonable to use them.
Okay, I'll come back.
And so when the president said that the country will not allow anybody to invade police stations, when he said that the country will not allow anybody to go and invade private property, shops, okay, to stop children from going to school, to invade theater and steal from,
Okay.
steal equipment
Okay.
that have been put in the theater, that was not unlawful.
I'm coming back to you, Akili. Honorable Farah, before we head over to Studio B, these shoot orders from where you sit, I mean, what do you make of these orders? Because when police use excessive force, yesterday there's a 12-year-old girl in Dumberi who was buried after she died of a gunshot wound while watching TV at her home, not on the streets, not a bystander. Then how do we move forward as a country when we hear such orders being dished out left, right, and center from those in positions of power, those who are supposed to fix the issues that Kenyans are raising, issues that are making Kenyans go to the streets?
Principally, it doesn't sound good. But following from where my brother has left, those guns are not beads that you wear on your neck. The guns have a reason. And I'll give you a figurative example. Every state officer in this country has a bodyguard. Members of parliament, state officers, PSs, ministers, everybody has a bodyguard. I want to ask you, Ian, why do they have a bodyguard? Do you know why? To protect that individual. Okay? Now, assume member of parliament for a certain X constituency is guarded by a bodyguard. Then you come as Ian with a machete and he wants to chop off the head of that member of parliament. What will that bodyguard do?
Honorable Farah, that is a completely different scenario.
No.
We're talking about protesters who are out to exercise
we
their
will
rights.
go back to US.
Okay.
What will that bodyguard do? There's somebody running with a machete who wants to chop off the head of the member of parliament.
Let's go back to protesters. These are people exercising their rights on the streets.
I want you to answer
But
first.
that is a different conversation altogether. We're talking about Kenyans who are out to exercise their rights.
It isn't. It is the same thing. What we are saying is that that gun will be used to protect the life and properties of Kenyans when it is necessary. Extremely necessary. And it is in the law. As the Wakili has told you, it is in the law. It's not a changa that you wear on your neck. But the statements that are coming from the leaders is worrying, as I told you from the beginning. But when demonstrators come to parliament,
Okay.
and they say they want to occupy parliament, or they want to occupy State House,
Okay.
what are those words? They are anarchics, isn't it? Those are anarchy. Those are not peaceful demonstrations.
Okay, let me just ask.
And the police is there. Listen, the police is there near parliament, okay?
We need to cross over.
Listen,
Okay.
the police are there near parliament. They tell you, hapa ni mwisho, enda namna hiyo. As a demonstrator, you should obey.
Okay, we're crossing over, but you talked about the invasion of parliament. Parliament was invaded last year.
Yes.
Was there a single member of parliament who was hurt or anything by the protesters?
I don't know of any, but
There's none,
property
absolutely.
was destroyed. They ran away in the tunnel.
Okay, we'll come back to this conversation. Let me cross over to Theo Macharia. Theo, coming to your side. I mean, I don't know what your panelists have to say in regards to the, shoot orders from not only the president but the CS for Interior and the chairperson of the Defense and Foreign Relations Committee, and what next if these orders are being dished out, just recklessly.
Right, thank you so much, Ian Keitani. That's such a contentious issue coming from Studio A. And maybe just to continue with that, maybe we just want to understand with my panel here in studio. Gentlemen, we've had the conversation going on in Studio A, the shoot to kill order, shoot and kill, and even shoot to maim. Maybe we want to understand from this side where we sit. Are we dealing with the issue of accountability? Is it an accountability issue, or is it an issue with the character of our leaders? Maybe to start with you, Bishop.
Thank you, Theo. I think I've been listening keenly to the other panelists on the other side, Studio A, and I agree. There are things that are a bit they're making me feel a bit uncomfortable as a Kenyan, because there is a saying that the Americans always say that America first. If it's going to be America first, then we have to know it is also Kenya first. Coming out of our cocoons and thinking about how we can be able to solve this problem once and for all. Why did we have the issue of the statement from the president coming in that strong manner? Shoot to kill. It's because anger is on both sides. And it's on the highest level right now. And you know, according to the way things are, stages of anger is trigger, and then we have the escalation, then we have crisis, and then from there we start dropping down to recovery, and then post-crisis. But now we are all stuck at crisis, which means on both sides, we as Kenyans, we are feeling angered by the government. At the same time also, the government is also angered by the people who they are supposed to serve. And I think it's the high time now we need to sit down and we recollect ourselves and ask ourselves, how can we solve this problem? Because it is escalating. And when you listen to the ground, they are saying, our Gen Zs and the rest are saying, we have to push on. We are ready to die. You can see even some of the images and memes that are going around. Mm-hmm. I believe there is a high time that we need now to sit down. We have to let the dust settle, and now we ask ourselves, which is the way forward? We have to come into a negotiation table, mm-hmm, so that we can be able now to save this country. Otherwise, crisis and remaining in crisis, it's going to make situation deteriorated.
All right, and to you, Mr. Patrick, right, what makes these leaders speak with such confidence in such a time like this, when a cabinet secretary and also a member of parliament comes and even defies the president's order and says, in fact, shoot and kill? What gives such leaders such a confidence?
One is impunity. This country has had impunity since the time of memorial. This country has been affected clearly by also nepotism, whereby these people are in the position they are in because somebody put them in those positions. And I want to say for our panelists who are in the other studio that I also feel so agitated when somebody says that president did not do any wrong, actually to state that somebody should shoot to kill. One, I want to say this from the perspective of being in the discipline uniform before. And also I want to speak from the fact that I want also to speak on behalf of the people in uniform. One, because they need to understand that this political class and people in power, they have never been trained. They do not understand the prescription or the mandate that is the police are supposed to adhere to, not even the military. I'm saying this because one, even Geneva Convention does not allow shoot to kill order. Myself, as a special force soldier, we were trained and told, even if it is a terrorist who in this case has raised his hands, not to they're surrendering to you, you can never shoot them. So what is so agitating? That most of the Kenyans who have been shot in the street, they did not have any weapon. Most of the Kenyans that have been shot in the street, they were not in any commotion in any way fighting anyone. So what I'm saying is that this country, even when we talk of dialogue, as Bishop has said, we also need to understand who are the people to be in that dialogue. Okay. Because we can also miss the point, because when we call a wrong audience on the dialogue, then we miss also the point.
Before we cut into the aspect of dialogue and settling the dust, right, maybe to hear from you, Mr. Julius, we have seen you on the streets and you have been quite vocal. Right. So when you hear leaders make sentiments like this, shoot to kill, shoot in the leg, or shoot and maim, what picture does this paint of the leaders that you have in position?
I think it's very wrong. It's not, it should not happen at all. A public servant issuing a shoot to kill order. Shoot to kill order to who? To young Kenyans who are demanding for their rights. I think what we should do is that we should know the issues that brought people to the streets. Because when people came into the streets, they had issues. And these are the issues that we must look at. Because we are human beings, and at the end of it all, we must sit at the table and reason with one another, and think with one another. Right now, the leaders in power, the politicians in power, have refused to look at the issues that made people come into the streets, and that is why this thing is escalating. Yeah, so I think we need to sit down and talk.
Okay, we need to sit down and talk. Now, Bishop, he's mentioned, or he has highlighted there are issues that these protesters have raised on the streets. But now, What do we do when the head of state comes and says he doesn't understand the noise that is going on in the country, and he actually says that the country is going on well and okay, there is no problem with what or how the country is being governed?
Let's face the reality of the matter. And the fact is, if you look at the demographics right now, they aren't favoring the old people like me. It is for the young people, because out of 54 million Kenyans, we are talking of 18 million plus who are young people. Any government, any country will be very serious in terms of thinking on how to come up with strategies so that we can be able, at least even if we do not, we can, Rome was not built in one day. But I believe there are processes we can use just to show people, or to show the young people, that we are heading in the right direction in terms of sitting down and looking for a way to create job opportunities and giving them an opportunity. And for example, let me give you a good example. If 3%, according to the statistics of last year, Kenya Bureau Standard, and when you look at the exact 3% of the young people who are right now in the government in terms of the jobs that are there, in the civil service, I believe 3% only, but the majority of the 41% plus are over 41 years and above. It leaves the big gap, it leaves a very big percentage of young people who are employed, they have nowhere to go. And I believe the best thing now we should be sitting down and discussing here is that, as a bishop, is that the government should think on the kitty that is there, because the cake has not changed. Right. Let's think on how we can basically come up and, if we have done the CDF, let us do for the young people, and think on how we can come up with a structure right from the grassroots level, on the constituency level, on how we can, these people are well educated, they are people who understand the life where we are right now, and make them now from that level coming into the county and even to the national level, and create job opportunities for them. And then as we sit down to discuss this, they will see that there is something that is happening. And through that now, it will make them now start responding, because right now, why we are in a crisis right now, Theo, it is simply because the leaders are just something that they are in the government, and you cannot take them anywhere. Right. Do you know what it means now? That's a crisis. Okay. Do you know why? 5 years we are only remaining with only 2 years. Meaning that those 2 years, do we allow more Kenyans to die? No.
A critical question, a crucial question. Right. Maybe to cross over to you, Mr. Patrick,
right.
You know,
yeah.
Bishop has outwardly admitted that we are in a crisis as a country. Right. The head of state denies and says the country is headed on nicely. Are we headed in the right direction as a country from where you see it?
Absolutely, we in a very pathetic situation. One, because we are actually handling wrong issues. Yet we are supposed to handle end-on the issues that the young people are crying for. And I want to tell you that most of the young people in this country, we don't even want their possessions. We don't need the empowerment kind of scheme to entice the young people. What we are requiring is the government to do things that are supposed to cater for the solutions that the young people are crying for. You cannot tell me that you can create job creation or probably employment by taxing people, overtaxing people, if I'm allowed to say that. We cannot say that this government can create jobs for the jobless Kenyans by saying that we come up with affordable housing, which in this case, no one requesting the government actually to do those housing. So what we are missing, or what the government is missing, is actually thinking that Kenyans do not know, or we the young people, we don't know what we are needed to have. So what I'm calling upon is that our country is heading into a very wrong direction. Failure to listen, failure to think, or what they think that we know it all. That is what they are. They do not want to listen to the young people. They do not want to listen to people what queries we have. Instead of listening, what they are doing, they are actually fueling what is on the street today.
All right.
Offering the orders to kill, offering, saying that, you know, enough is enough. For what? What we are saying, and what I want to state, and I want to say this, and with good faith, it doesn't matter, because myself as Patrick Osoi, because I am running for Kenyan president, I want to tell you one thing. I wouldn't pray that I find a failed government. So I cannot, pure and patriotic Kenyan like me, my wish would want to see the government of the day listening and actioning to the issues that the young people are crying for. Actually,
all right, Mr.
dialogue.
Patrick, we are due for a short break. But
Right.
before we take that break, let's get this balanced.
Right.
Mr. Julius, in under 30 seconds, do you believe the government is listening to what Kenyans are raising?
Okay, they have not listened, because if they had listened, they would never have sent the police to the streets. We have seen other countries, people coming into the streets and they protest and they go and they're escorted by the police. And until the leaders didn't listen to them, and if they don't listen, they get out of the country. Because what's so hard about leaders getting out of power, resigning when the people have said, we are tired, we do not want you in power.
Okay. So
you should not be there.
All right. So on that note, basically, Mr. Julius says the government is not listening to Kenyans. Now, it's a heated conversation. Let's take this break. We are coming up with a continuation of this discussion. Keep it the People Dialogue on K24 TV and Kameme TV.
Kameme TV, Muthegi wa Ruriri. People Daily, Kenya's trusted newspaper, is making history as the first daily to go fully digital. By transitioning from print to the PD News app, we are delivering the same exceptional journalism you've relied on for years in a completely new way to experience it. It's news for today and the future. No paper, no waste. Just real-time updates and customizable stories. This is a leap towards innovation, sustainability, and a better experience for you, our reader. Download the PD app now on Play Store and App Store. People Daily. News that moves with you.
Naeza kuwa sina godfather, sina any support system, lakini kwa uwezo wake Mwenyezi Mungu, in one way or the other, one day one time, mambo yangu itakuja kuwa sawa. One day one time.
Kwegwatira skize tune one day one time. Hihinya star 811 star 227 hasha. Wegwatira skize tune one day one time. Thimoine yaku umuthi star 811 star 227 hash.
Woza mukalaiweka amwe kuja. Woza Mr. Mavela, Mr. Mandunya, Mr. Mabujeng ni kama sawa kururumia.
Nania Wanjiko James aka Miss Kanyoni aka the Lioness kumaza kenda shahwaine kinyaza ikumine mwa shahwaine
Reremboka
on ones and twos. Mr. Moto kama pasi DJ Jan 254 wamwabererio Monday tugakurehere #Afro Monday edition.
Namwa wakere tukaigira dhini wa kanitha wa Reremboka.
Naguo wagatatu ni wagwa Wednesday. Naguo muthenya wa Thursday tuga pulo.
Tuendelee ama tusiendelee? Tugashoka makinya mere na thutha #TBT.
#Siaugavere niyo throwback Thursday. Ken. Naguo wagatano toka malo.
Anguka nao. Tukainekea wiki in style.
Veine wa Cocktail Friday.
Anguka nao. We got the juice.
Twende down low now. Anguka nao, twende down low now.
People Daily, Kenya's trusted newspaper, is making history as the first daily to go fully digital. By transitioning from print to the PD News app, we are delivering the same exceptional journalism you've relied on for years in a completely new way to experience it. It's news for today and the future. No paper, no waste. Just real-time updates and customizable stories. This is a leap towards innovation, sustainability, and a better experience for you, our reader. Download the PD app now on Play Store and App Store. People Daily. News that moves with you.
Well, if you're watching us right now, this is the People's Dialogue where we are discussing matters affecting the nation, the state of the nation, and where we are headed as a country. This is as a result of the numerous demonstrations that we've seen in the country. That's from the young people who are agitating for better governance and better state of economy, both politically and socially. And we had asked you a question earlier, where are we headed as a nation? Our question earlier, we had asked you, where are we headed as a nation? We wanted your contribution and your thoughts about this particular discussion as we get insights from our panelists. And we have William Kaingu who says, taifa linaenda mrama kwa ajili ya uongozi wa mabavu. Rais hataki kusikia maoni hata kwa washauri wake, na pia amekosa radhi kwa wanakura. Anaendesha taifa kidikteta, Mungu peke yake ndo analinda. Hayo, that's some sentiments from that particular viewer. And also Paul Mborogo says, the government is trying to bring us back to referendum so that you can gain some support from the public. They want to divert the attention of kidnapping and killings of Gen Zs. Kama leo viongozi wa kidini walienda State House kupokea hongo, hata wameanza kumuunga rais mkono kwa ujenzi wa kanisa katika Ikulu. That's sentiment from Paul Mborogo. And Quincy says, is there anything that the government doesn't know? Right now, nothing works on their favor, and they have to appreciate that. Let them talk little and do more, even if they can't be seen. Small challenges do matter, but expect a big challenge in the next general election. Let's maintain peace, but focus on salient issues that eats our system of governance. That is Quincy. And Val says, hello, K24 and Kameme. And Val, we cannot dialogue with people who say we should be shot on the leg, and others says we should be killed. Wakai na dialogue yao. That's Val there. And Sylvester from Machakos says, no, there have been several dialogues which have always excluded the youths. Let's go for what we want as the youths. Kenya haiko sawa. And Kimanzi says, we Gen Zs, we don't need the dialogue. What we need is the government to follow the constitution and the government now that. Those are some of the sentiments from our viewers, and keep them streaming and follow the conversation across our social media pages at K24 TV. And now I hand you over to Ian Keitani to continue with this conversation.
Thank you very much, Bentura Komboka. I just want to pick from where you've left in regards to what the youth have to say, because the hot conversation in the country right now is the dialogue or intergenerational conclave that Raila Odinga talks about. Now, Wakili, to begin with you, first of all, before the issue of dialogue, is the president really listening to what Kenyans are saying? Because one, you know, all we hear is they're being incited by the opposition, they're being incited by the church. Parents do fear their children. That is why the children are on the streets, and that is what leads, or rather is leading to the loss of lives that we are witnessing. Is the government really intentional in solving the issues being raised by the young generation? And if so, how are they addressing these issues?
The President William Ruto has been intentional from the first day he got into office. That is why he stabilized the economy. That is why our macroeconomic fundamentals are now stabilized. Inflation has gone down. That is why, agriculture has been boosted through the interventions he had in fertilizer, reducing the cost of fertilizer. That is why he initiated, despite the fact that it was extremely unpopular and the public was incited about it, the affordable housing program, not only to provide housing, but to provide jobs. He says he reported yesterday that about 360,000 young Kenyans are currently engaged in the construction process. He directed those involved yesterday to double the number by ensuring that there are 2 shifts in the construction process. That is why he made interventions in the health sector by ensuring that, the SHA program took off despite the initial challenges. Right now there's effort that it has been rolled out very well, and Kenyans are getting treatment, and part of the cost of the treatment is being paid through the SHA system. And so what am I saying? I'm saying that the president is intentional about dealing with the things that are affecting youth. And these are employment issues. These are poverty issues. These are issues related to food security. These are housing, and so on and so forth. So to that extent, I would say the president is serious. About, how to listen. I think we are a nation that should continue dialogue. I have had people, throwing brickbats at Honorable Raila Odinga for suggesting that we engage. The constitution itself, the governance, structure itself in this country promotes dialogue. We should always be dialoguing for every issue, because we are a fractious nation. We are a nation of almost, 43 or 44 ethnic groups. We come from different religious groups. We have different dynamics even in terms of age, in terms of economic ability, and therefore people's priorities will always differ, and we always differ on the path we are supposed to take. And at any point when we get to the point where there is a difference in opinion, in views, on the path to take, Kenyans must engage. So dialogue should be part and parcel of the way we run, the way we manage, and the way we lead this country. Okay?
Okay, fair enough. Before I go to Honorable Farah, the president, and you said Raila Odinga is calling for dialogue. We've had several dialogues in the country. The recommendations that are yet to be, implemented that were made. Now, let's forget even about the dialogues that have happened in the past. The 10-point MOU agenda between Raila Odinga and, President William Ruto. Among them was, an end to issues of abductions and police brutality. I mean, 4 or 5 months down the line, that is yet to happen. In fact, we've seen a sharp increase in that.
Out of that, we have had strengthening of systems. We have an IPOA system that is strengthened and has worked and ensured that those who were, found culpable in a Ojwang case are in court. We now have, an IBC process that stabilizes the country, and when the political process is stabilized, then we are most likely avoiding chaotic situations. We are avoiding situations that could lead into conflict between police and the public. I mean, we are having a situation in which those who misuse power can be called out. And we must have that space. So my view is that dialogue will never end. We should have continuous dialogue. We can never dismiss NADCO, because it is through NADCO that we had the law on IBC, and now we have a commission. Okay. It is through NADCO that we have a broad-based government. It is through NADCO that other things then can happen. And it should never stop with NADCO. We have had dialogues in this country for a very long time, and dialogue will continue.
Okay.
Yeah, and what we are doing here is dialogue. So you cannot tell me, Ian, that we should not dialogue, but we come to TV here to dialogue.
Okay, the question is, we dialogue every time, but
yes,
are the recommendations that come out of this dialogue, have they been implemented?
That's the question. We must continuously dialogue to monitor the progress of the implementation, and where there are bottlenecks, we agree on what other route to take. And in my view, efforts are being made under very challenging circumstances, where we have a leadership that of an opposition that feels so entitled, okay, and think that we should interpret things according to their ethnic groups.
Okay, Honorable Farah, is dialogue the way to go, and who should lead this dialogue?
Dialogue is the only way. You don't have any other entry door. The only door that you can enter is dialogue. We have no space for anarchy in Kenya. We have no space for chaos. We have no space for forceful of doing things. The only way out for this country is dialogue. That is the letter and spirit of the Constitution 2010. Whether you like it or not, that is the only way. And we are forced by our own laws, by our own culture, the African culture, the cultures that we have in our different religious beliefs, the Quranic teaching, the biblical teaching, everything is about dialogue. And that's the only way to go. No other route. But before I leave that point, I want to say something. There are issues in Kenya. We all agree. There are issues to be solved. We are not running away from the truth. We are not running away from the facts. There are issues in this country needing the attention of everybody, including me and yourself. All right? There are issues to be tackled as a country. And there are many, there are myriads of them. But how do you do it? For example, the president of this country has a manifesto. And we want to take him to account at the end of the 5 years. Why don't you give him time to implement his manifesto? That's a question that Kenyans should ask.
3 years on, Honorable Farah. 3 years on, Honorable Farah. What has the government done in terms of implementing their manifesto, in terms of creating employment?
Ask me the question the other way. What has he not done?
No, I'm asking you the question.
No, I will ask you.
I'm asking you the question.
And I will put the question this way. What has he not done?
Honorable Farah, I'm here to ask the question.
And I will answer the question now.
Answer my question.
He has done everything that he has promised. Everything he has promised. I'm not here to defend a government, but I have to tell Kenyans the truth of the matter.
You actually are defending the government.
No, I'm not defending the government, but I have to tell Kenyans the truth. I will not sit here and tell Kenyans lies. For example, my brother on the other studio B, Patrick, has said that we don't want affordable houses. That's not the truth. Affordable houses is anchored in our constitution. It's anchored in our 2030 vision.
Honorable Farah, allow...
All the work that government is doing is anchored in our blueprints.
Because of time.
Because of time.
Because of time. I asked you, the question was...
I want to ask her.
Who should lead this dialogue?
Who should lead this?
Because we always see the political class on the forefront, year in, year out, but the results are the same. So who should lead this dialogue this time around?
From where we sit as NCIC, this dialogue must be led by NCIC, Uyano platform, and the religious organizations. And those are the bodies that Kenyans believe in. Before even the Gen Z came in, NCIC had a blueprint on that dialogue. It was called the Transgenerational Conversation. That blueprint is there with NCIC. We launched it last year. We are already there, and we want to go that route.
So what is the progress so far?
The progress so far is we have launched the report, and we are going to the stakeholders, and we will convene them. We had a commission meeting last week, and we've decided that we bring on board Religious Council of Kenya, the Uyano platform, and the business community, and we will lead that conversation dialogue for this country. That is the route to go.
So from where you sit, the president has done everything that he can do.
According to his manifesto.
Is that according to you or to NCIC?
No, to me, not NCIC. Okay. I read the manifesto every time. Mm-hmm. He's attempted everything.
Okay, the president, while campaigning on June 21st, 2021 or so, if I'm not wrong, talked about, he promised to end the unemployment among the youth. Now, a week or a couple of weeks ago, he talked about unemployment did not begin with me. From where you sit, the sentiments by the head of state, I mean, is it that the government is overwhelmed? Because if the head of state says unemployment did not begin with me, so who do the youth look at in that circumstance?
Well, policy from government is not instant coffee. Policies have got preparations, they have got, implementation, they have got so many processes. That's what the president is saying. It did not begin with him. So for him, he has started the process, and he has started in earnest. He has created employment in the affordable housing. He has tried to get Kenyans employment outside this country. He has employed 50,000 teachers. He has employed health workers. He has employed so many people around. He has tried his best. But where does the government get where to employ people? You must create that, and it's not instant coffee. The president has tried his best, more than anybody else, from where I sit, not NCIC's position, where I sit, to struggle and to make sure that the youth of this country get some employment.
I'll come back to the issue of numbers and employment because, for example, the issue of affordable housing, we talk about 250,000, but according to an economic survey done last year, that is not the exact number that of jobs that has been created under the affordable housing program. But let me cross over to Theo Mashari in Studio B. Theo, take it away.
On the issue, again, who should lead this dialogue? And on this end, maybe I'd want to understand, maybe Mr. Julius, we throw this to you. How do we grow into a country where everyone feels heard, everyone feels they have an opportunity for a better Kenya?
So I think all these things have been created by the political class. I think the politics of Kenya for the long 60 years, for all those 60 years, have never been about the issues of the people. It has always been about individuals, the selfish interests of individuals, and that is why we are facing all these problems, all these crises.
Housing
because people are aggrieved, people are they are angry, they are desperate. There's too much unemployment, too much poverty, and I think it's time for us to face the political class, because the battle that we have here is not between tribes, but politicians would want us to think around that line. But the battle that we have is a class war. We must address the issue of poverty in this country. Poverty is modern day slavery. Poverty is man-made, and if we will not address the issue of poverty, this country will not change. Nothing will change, because these people have stolen everything. In fact, there's nothing remaining for the poor people. They steal all the resources. They pay themselves hefty salaries, the so-called bloated government. That one caters only for the rich. And if it's about the tenders and all these, they get the tenders themselves and their families. And politicians will not produce anything. They are parasites, you see. So it's time for us to face the political class and tell them we are tired. Enough is enough. Okay. We need the national cake to come here and so that we can know how everybody can benefit from the resources of this country.
Okay, Mr. Patrick, Julius says it's time we face the political class. But now, even there's a concern that even as the youth and even them that are joining the movement face the political class, they are being met with force and violence again. What are we saying?
Right. As I earlier said, that the lethal force that the police service is supposed to apply, there's no prescription of using the bullet. And if we are talking about proportionality of the force that they're supposed to use, then it means that if the civilians, for example, come with the guns, then they can use the gun. If they come with the rungus, then they can use the rungus. But what I'm saying is that what I'm saying and what I want to make it clear is that our police officers and the civilians, the citizens, we need to understand that the political class creates the fight between the two so that they can continue looting, they can continue oppressing, they can continue practicing impunity at the highest level. Today, if we talk of our police officers who also are going through a lot, being taxed, pay as you earn more than 51% of their salary, don't tell me that our police officers today are happy. Today, we cannot talk about our military today. They used to have, one time I was in the military, we never used to pay taxes, we never used to be charged about food. To date, the military today are paying taxes. Today, they do not have their food provision. So we are in a situation whereby our security agencies, and especially the IG, the director of CID, the National Intelligence Director, and the CDF, they need to sit down, understand the provision of Article 238 and 239 on what mandates they are supposed to have in this country, and two, not to follow orders that are coming from a civilian point of view, because these people are up there giving orders to the police officers who, in this case, they have been trained on how to handle civilians. So what I'm saying and what I'm calling upon today is that we have to stand firm to tell the people the truth. The truth is the political class, especially the executive and others, they are manipulating, putting pressure on the police to fight with the civilians. And the civilian tended to believe that the police are their enemies. The enemies are not the police. The enemies are not the civilians. The enemies is the political class who are in a mission to continue looting this country, to continue oppressing people in this country, to continue making this country be in a position where we are not supposed to be. Okay. In the meantime, I want to respond to Farah Mahalim, the commissioner. I want to remind him that he is a civil servant and he is paid by us, the people. And two, he should not be seen advocating for executive. Him as a commissioner of NCIC, he need to understand that his work is actually to put balance so that we do not have discrimination in our society, to advocate the cohesion with the people. And when I talk about housing, that was not a priority. One, we understand it is okay. But what I want to mention, that housing was not, it is something called priority of order. We do not need houses at that given time. And if we needed the housing, then we should have used privatization, public privatization, whereby investors would have come and the government have the agreement with them, but not government telling people we are going to tax you levy to build the houses, whereas it is not the priority of us. Today, if Julius Kamau here...
Allow us to hold it there so that we can get a Bishop view on something. Now, Bishop, there's a tweet that was posted by Mr. Patrick Osoi on his X page, and he quoted Proverbs 29 verse 2, and he says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked rule, the people groan. Does this allude to the current state of affairs in the country?
Okay, I think Osoi is my friend, but I think he must have been so furious when he was writing that one, because I believe there are so many scriptures in the Bible which we can refer to based on different scenarios and different events. But I believe at the end of the day, we can't talk about the issue of wickedness in that's what the Bible says. But to me and to my understanding is that if that's the case, then Osoi being one of them, we went down on our knees to pray for this government to be in place. We prayed and we agreed, and when it came over, we were so happy. Kasarani has never been filled up like it was during that time. What has happened right now? Let me refer to the question, my brother. Sorry, I think he has got a different aspect of looking at things, which is okay. And I can see where the direction is heading to. How do we grow this country together so that we can be able to move as one people? Then we can only learn from the history. Look at United States of America. How come they have got, how many languages are there? How many people are in that? Over 200 million plus. And yet when the election is done, they are done with it and they clear everything and they go back to work and everything moves on. And any other legislative issues, they are handled. I think it's a high time we have to call ourselves into order as Kenyan people, so that we can be able to reason, because it is either, we say like, what it is quoted in Quran and even also in the Bible, Patrick, you'll agree with me, that Joshua told his people, the Israelites, that choose today whom you will serve. If you want to serve the living God, you serve it. If you want to serve the other one. But now on this other end, even for us as Kenyans, no matter how angry we could be, we have to choose between peace and anarchy. We have to choose between peace and anarchy. So, and I think the best thing is that we have to sit down and dialogue and sit down and see how best we can be able to look at this. But there's something we can't ignore. Over 18 million young people who are on the streets and they are idle. That one government has to come up with a proper good kitty like they did for the CDF. Come up with a proper good structure right from the constituency level on how we can create innovative ways and ideas. And I'm sure we can be able to get it, to grab it. And then it goes all the way to the national level. And like now, for example, my constituency.
Bishop, one of the issues that is being raised by the young people is, and even people are saying, we can't enter into a third dialogue, whereas we have seen other dialogues that have not borne fruit. So people are asking, how different will this dialogue be from all the others that we've been having?
People-driven. It doesn't have to come from the government. The government doesn't have to call us. We can tell them now, this is what we suggest. Let us suggest as Kenyans. This is the way we want. this is the direction we are taking, and probably these are the people we would like to float in front. And because you are the ones who are in government, simply because Theo, you have to agree on one thing: we chose this government to be in position for 5 years. So anything contrary, it means we are creating anarchy in this country.
Right.
And I think that's the reality check.
Right.
And that's the reality check. It is either now we want to go down and say, because for them they'll just stamp and say, we have the government, we will stand in. More and more people are being killed. Over 100 young people dying innocently. As a bishop, I feel so. In fact, I feel I'm so demoralized within our country, whereby I believe that we are supposed to be advocating for peace and reconciliation. But right now, the way things are moving on, remember the post-election violence, Theo? How many people died? 2007, 1,000. Right now, we are less how many? 900. So that we can be able to hit the same. And then there was a dialogue when they sat down for Nusumukate. Do you have to wait until that time? I think it's the high time now. We have to call both sides. On our side, we have to agree to sit down, and also at the same time, no matter, I know we are agitated.
Okay.
Because people are agitated. I have members who are telling me every day they are mad.
All right. On that note, Mr. Patrick, we are agitated.
Correct.
All right. Now, Kenyans are agitated on one end, and also the president seems agitated also. We saw what he said on sometime last week, but one on Wednesday. What should we do so that we can come to a win-win situation? Because as Bishop has said, Wakenya wakikasirika na rais akasirike, we ain't going nowhere.
Right. Let me say this. There's been a problem of context of power or presidency. We have failed to understand the provision of Article 1. The power belongs to the people. The leaders of this country, they think they should tell the people what they should do. Yet we don't understand that the people, we, are supposed to tell those leaders what to do. So in case today, William Ruto and other politicians will come to tell them, and myself as I campaign, I am not going to tell people I'm promising you to do this and this and that. By whose permission? There need to be an understanding that the people they are mandated to tell the government on what to do.
What happens when the government refuses to listen? Now, Kenyans are saying the government is not listening to them outrightly.
Do you know what that is? That is subverting our constitution. It means somebody who subverts the constitution, who does not listen to the constitution, who does not adhere to the constitution, should leave the office. And that is what Julius was saying here, that if the people, we the people with the power, that we have told you, men, what you're doing, we don't want it. What you're doing is not what is required to us. Today we cannot talk of effectiveness and efficiency in this country. We cannot talk of integrity in this country. We cannot talk about consensus in this country. We cannot talk about inclusivity in this country. The government of today, they do what they think, what they want. They think they are in a cocoon of home to manage themselves. Please, the government of today, and I want to advise the president of today, and I've told him, I wish him well to run and to be able to run this country the way it's supposed to be run. As a matter of fact, and I say that I will quote again, and I will never cease to say, even if I'm running for an office to be the president, the 6th president of this country, I will never want a failed government. As a patriotic Kenyan, I cannot wish William Ruto to fail. But the fact is that he is not listening to the queries of the young people in this country. And again, why the young people are saying that we don't want the conversation or the dialogue, do you know why? Because it is not about the dialogue, it's about action. He understands and he knows what exactly the young people are talking about. Can I remind you something? Unemployment, they need to study Singapore, China, and these countries that we were in the same economic scale some years back ago. What did they do? They embraced manufacturing to create employment for the young people. My friend, housing that you are taxing people for people to build houses cannot create employment for the young people. It's actually oppressing the people. Yes.
Julius, when it comes to speaking out and raising out the issues as Kenyans, do you believe this time round when Kenyans speak, it is going to be any different from all the other dialogues that we've had?
I think we must become serious and very serious. Because it is us who should drive that dialogue. And it should not just be dialogue, it should be change. I think it's time for us to make these people go because they have failed us. And I think these people are destroyed beyond redemption. I mean, they have no souls, they have no humanity in them. You can't tell me police were going out into the streets under orders, because I believe police are acting on orders to shoot and kill. Like they're shooting young people as young as 10 years, 12 years. We remember Jockey, Bridget Jockey.
Yes.
We remember Boniface Karaoke the other day. I mean, we are cutting short the lives of the leaders of tomorrow, the people of tomorrow. A society that kills its young people has no future at all.
All right.
So it's a matter of coming together and reasoning together, thinking together how we'll save this nation. Because this nation is in the hands of dangerous people, murderers, liars, and thieves and criminals. And as long as they continue remaining in power, we'll continue having these problems. And we can solve these problems because we are human beings, we have brains. We can sit on a table and say, no, enough is enough. Let the problems be addressed. And it's politicians who create these problems deliberately. Many of the problems we have, in fact, all of them are created deliberately by the political class for political mileage, so that they can remain relevant.
Right.
If we address the issues of this country, we'll be able to dismantle all the lies and the political class and send them home and punish them for evils they have committed to our people.
All right, that is Mr. Julius Kamau right there. And over to you, Keitani. But before we take it to you, Keitani, there's a concern here that the NCIC has been accused of being selective in issues of pacifying the nation. Maybe you can throw this to one of the commissioners that is with us tonight. He can tell us why are these accusations being thrown at them of being selective in pacifying the country?
Well, thank you very much, Theo. Honorable Farah, that is concern on your end, and I know I posed that question earlier on. Now, you also said NCAC had volunteered to, have a dialogue for the country to have some sort of dialogue so that we can air out the issues that we have. Now, how then will you be able to conduct this dialogue when there are concerns about, NCIC being a toothless dog?
Well, we are toothless dog in the matter of hate speech and its implementation. But we are very powerful in all the other mandates of the Commission, which are over 25 mandates, including pacifying the country, as my brother is putting it. And we've pacified this country from all its four corners. In the last 5 or so years that I was in office with my other colleagues, all right? We have pacified the county of Marsabit that was in turmoil for 3 decades. And today, you don't hear anything about the county of Marsabit. All right? We've pacified the county of Isiolo, Meru, and its neighbors. That is Samburu, Garissa, Wajir, all that belt. We've pacified it. We've pacified Narok, Mau, Njoro. We've pacified Lamu to some extent. We've pacified North Rift, which was no-go zone when we started our office. Now, all the regions of North Rift, you can go, no problem. But before, there were centers that you could not attempt to go. Even the elected leaders of those regions could not attempt to go.
Where to be specific?
We have opened up, my friend. We have opened up that region. And so, we have pacified this country without being selective. We have summoned politicians and headmongers without being selective.
But the question, Honorable Farah, as well is, yes, you do summon these leaders. They record statements, but there are concerns about, that just ending there. What is the mandate of the Commission in terms of ensuring that these issues are addressed? Is it just about summoning them, they record statements, and the story is as good as done?
We summon them, they write statements, we prepare a file, we take it to the prosecutor, and we leave it there. It's out of our hands. It is the wisdom of Kenyans who distributed power to institutions.
So how many cases so far have seen the light of day? Cases that you've forwarded, for charging or for consideration?
Very few, very few. It's not our folly. It's not our folly. We have.
Who then is to blame?
Well, we blame the courts and the prosecutor, because they have to prosecute people in the context where these things are happening. They should care about the country. They should care about the country and not allow other things to come in. The moment a file of hate speech lands in the court, the judge must prosecute with wisdom. That's where we're missing.
Okay, let me come back to you, Akili. Now, the government says that we should dialogue. Raila Odinga came out and said that we should dialogue. The youth are saying we're not ready for dialogue. What other avenues do we have to sort out the mess that we're having in this country?
Which youth are saying that we've not... You know, it's important to be open in this country. I have a problem with the media framing the narrative the way they want.
We've seen the feedback, Wakili, to be fair. We've seen the feedback.
David is not youth. I have looked at him, he's not Gen Z.
Looked at... the feedback that we're having from our social...
What I'm telling you,
yes,
we have almost 20 million youth in this country. You cannot pick a few young people that you have access to and then say that young people don't want dialogue. Young people are raising issues, legitimate issues to do with employment, issues to do with lacking space on the decision-making tables. And these are issues that can be resolved by, young people understanding the opportunities that are there and taking advantage of those opportunities. And by the government listening to young people and dealing with the recommendations that young people then make. This can only be done through a situation in which we continuously dialogue. Let me tell you, the Constitution itself, in Article 10, affirms the principle and the value of dialogue when it says that we need to promote public participation. Public participation means that people come and talk. People give their views on each and every policy and program that the government is undertaking. That people are able to then define what are the priorities and how those priorities should be implemented. So the issue of dialogue, it should be a continuous thing. But whenever there is an issue that arises that is critical, then we converge together. It is important for us to, disabuse the public of certain, assertions that I've heard. For instance, my brother also is saying from the other side. The unfortunate thing about being a politician running for office is that you sacrifice the truth. And sometimes you refuse to deal with the facts. I am in the housing sector. I have told you that before. And the housing sector is critical in creating employment. When Osoi, gives the example of Singapore, and other emerging economies. Those economies have grown because of the construction industry. It is the construction industry. Then that would then, create the need for a demand for inputs from the manufacturing industry. And therefore, you will have a growing manufacturing industry. And if you have both the construction industry and the manufacturing industry growing, then we will have need, I have to explain this, you will have need for the raw materials, so that will, even as much as possible, push up the agricultural production. So economy is a cyclic thing.
Fair enough. I'll go back to my question. If the youth are not ready to dialogue, what other avenues do we have?
Which youth are not ready to dialogue? I speak to very many young people.
Let me come in.
Young people want a space to sit and discuss their issues.
Okay. Let me come in.
The media cannot frame.
The media is not framing, Wakili, to be fair. The media is not framing.
No,
We've seen from the feedback.
Let me come.
Just to be clear, on Tuesday
I'll clear it myself. It's here.
Fair enough. On Tuesdays here, we do have a segment called the Gen Z Manifesto. And what the youth are saying in that show is that they're not ready to dialogue. So what next? What other avenues do we have to look at?
The caller from Machakos, I think he was called Sylvester or something, said they must involve the youth. I don't know whether he's a youth or not. So probably he's a youth. So they want to be involved. It's not that they don't want to be involved. They have no other option. Whether they want it or not, there's no other option. Anarchy is not the solution for this country.
Honorable Farah, we talk about anarchy, but,
But solutions are with dialogue.
Okay, we talk about anarchy and the youth going through the streets and what is happening in the country being anarchy.
I mean,
but what then do we call when politicians do hire goons to infiltrate Kenyan demonstrations that, are being held in the country against bad governance, against corruption, against, the state of affairs in the country?
Those are the guys who are being charged with terrorism. I'm hoping that we will follow them to the last man who financed the processes. I mean, we need to be truthful.
What's wrong here? Listen. The guy who is financing goons.
Who is this guy? We talk about the guy.
Whoever he is, I don't know. The intelligence, no, maybe.
So
all right?
you can't really
whoever
say you can't really say the guy is financing this demonstration.
Whoever is financing, let me say this: whoever is financing, must be charged with treason and terrorism. Whoever he is.
Whoever he is, you talk about whoever he is. You talk about these demonstrations being financed, but you say you're not sure. You don't have the names. Who are these financials? Wakili says he has a name.
Can I give an indication?
Okay.
You know,
just give us a name.
Let me give an indication. The former deputy president came out on TV and said, "I am calling on my sons, the Gen Z, to stop going to the streets."
Now let me ask you.
Who every time Rigathi Gachagua talks and mobilizes to the street, part of the people who have been arrested and charged with terrorism are people within his party.
Okay, let me ask.
Are people who are very close to him.
Wakili, let me ask. From the 25th of June, 2025 to today is, I think, almost 3 weeks later.
Yes.
The CS for Interior talked about, they know the people are financing these, demonstrations, but nobody has been arrested. He has not been arrested. He has not been questioned. So how then can we be so certain that
we have members, the inner core members of DCP, which is Rigathi Gachagua's party, who have been charged with terrorism in, I think, Ruiru or Thika or something like that. Okay?
Who are these individuals? Because as far as I know, the people charged with terrorism are just young demonstrators who are arrested.
Can you name them? There are 2 individuals who have been charged, who have been indicated even by the media to be members of DCP. People are very close to Rigathi Gachagua. I am hoping that if investigation can touch to him, then he should be charged immediately, gets back from the US. Because we cannot tolerate a country where an individual, for his own selfish and egocentric interests, goes around inflaming ethnic hate and ethnic passion and mobilizing violence. We cannot do that. And that is why we need to dialogue as a nation, so as to isolate the hate mongers.
We talk about hate mongers, but we see political leaders allied to the government spewing hate.
If there is a political leader allied to the government who has spewed hate, he should be dealt with in the same way. In my view, we need to clean up the house. Okay? And cleaning up the house, anybody from any side of the divide who engages in hate speech, who engages in mobilization for violence, who finances violence in any way, should be arrested and charged in court.
Fair enough.
They should actually be charged under the Terrorism Act.
I need to go back to Theo Macharia, but just in under a minute, Honorable Farah, we saw Honorable Kamket threatening violence against demonstrators. What has the NCIC done in regards to that? And if at all anything has been done, what is the state of investigations?
Ian, I have to repeat myself the nth time again. All those people are on our radar.
I mean,
all right?
It's been over 3 weeks.
Investigations take time. It's not just picking somebody like that. And Wakili will tell you how investigations are very tedious, because first of all, you have to prove that clip in court. It has to go to Communication Authority of Kenya to verify whether he said exactly that.
We need to,
because he will battle it in court.
Okay.
So the process is long. It's not the way you Kenyans think.
Fair enough.
I said one time on TV that if Kenyans, what Kenyans wanted, I had the power.
Fair enough, Honorable.
I will have filled all the cells in Kenya.
Honorable Farah. I want to throw it over to Theo. And Theo, I don't know, Mr. Kamau, for example, what is the way forward then? If we're not ready to dialogue, what is the way forward from their perspective as activists, and also, I know you cannot speak probably about the youth, but what is the way forward for activists who are, saying we're not ready to dialogue with the government that is, engaging in such behaviors such as, killing the youth?
Right, Mr. Julius Kamal, that's a question for you. We are saying we don't want dialogue, then what's the way forward?
I think what we need, I mean, we need that dialogue. But let it be dialogue that address the issues of the people. Because when it comes, it will expose the hypocrisy of our leaders. Like now we have so many reports and commissions that have been done in this country. We remember so well. And these were done exactly, remember in 2007, when people rose up against one another and killed one another in that tribe of Rayab. And these politicians are leading us there again. And it's so sad that we allow them to do that. So they refuse to implement those reports because they're the ones who are named there. They're the ones, they will expose them. And it will open up a can of worms. The Dongo report, the Kiriagra report, the TJRC, let them come and implement that. Then that dialogue will be a way of removing them from power
All
and
right.
taking them to answer for the atrocities they've committed to the people of
All right,
Kenya.
so the core issue here is let us first of all implement the previous dialogues before we come into another dialogue.
Yeah, of course,
Let's come to you, Bishop. Where does the church stand in this whole matter of trying to bring sobriety in the nation?
We stand in as Kenyans because I believe that the work the government is doing and what we are doing is more or less the same. We deal with people and the government is dealing with people. But what I feel on the ground is that people are very much angered by the way things are moving. And I believe as a clergy, it's the high time right now we lower our tempo so that we can be able now to discuss these matters seriously from the law, from a man-to-man perspective, whereby we can be able, all of us, to reason and see how best we can be able to come up with one concrete and once and for all answer to the problem that is being faced by the Kenyans right now.
All right. Mr. Osoi, Bishop has mentioned about the clergy. We've seen quite a number of reactions of people reacting. We saw some pastors go to State House today. So Bishop says the clergy needs to sit on, but again, on the other hand, it's like Kenyans are also not impressed when the clergy goes to State House to meet the president. Where does this take us once again?
Want to say that we as Kenyans and also as the clergy team, we need to have a paradigm shift of mindset. Instead of the clergy people or elders of the church or the pastors to direct the country or even the leaders to take the action that the people are demanding, because voice of the people is the voice of God. So they are going to one man to listen to him and to adore him and to worship him. So what I am saying is that we don't want to see this kind of clergy people and men of God, in quote, going to one man show. I want some honorable people like Bishop here, who is very candid. If it's about conversation, it's conversation. But the fact is that we have under a lot of problem before, and especially with the religion in this country. And today you've seen also the president trying even to build a church, or building a church in State House worth 1.2 billion. But the question is, the NCIC commissioner does not tell us that that is discrimination. I am a believer of God. But the fact is that the president need to be advised and need to take advices of professionals and people that have been employed by the government, not weaponizing the system of the government to attack a particular individual. Because what I'm seeing here today, there's a fight between the retired, deputy president. It's not former because the court has not given the verdict.
Okay.
He's still in acting, I don't know whether it's acting whatever capacity, but they are targeting Gachagua to imprison him or whatever reason for what is happening. But I want to say I am not in support of any person, even people who are saying one time or something, because that will not heal this country.
All right.
Ruto is just one point, or is just a drop in a big problem as a country.
Okay.
So what I'm calling upon the people and even the leaders who are in opposition, because they are not also offering us the solution as the young people. And why I'm saying the dialogue right now is not their solution. The solution is action. The government knows and understands what the young people are complaining about.
All right.
Yeah.
So the solution is action. As we wrap this up, let's get your final remarks or your final sentiments tonight.
Yes.
I just want to understand in under 1 minute each, where or who does the buck stop with when it comes to restoring normalcy in the country? Let's start with you, Bishop. Then we can just 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute, as you also give your final remarks as we wrap this up tonight.
The buck stops with each and every Kenyan. Because if this country goes south, we are all in trouble. But we have to sit down and agree. I know both sides, the government is agitated by the way they have been receiving negative reactions. But again, also the Kenyans are agitated because the government is not listening to them. I think we have to sit down and come up with a proper, concrete solution on how we can be able to do this. And number one, like now our young people who are on the SpaceX and all the social media platforms, if they can come up with a way of even joining from every county on how they would like to come up with a 10-point agenda to address this case. And then we say, at the end of the day, from the national level, we bring them all of them together, and then they are looked at, and then from there we can be able to see how we can be able to solve the problem of this country once and for all.
Right.
I think that should be the way. And again, also let us not forget that we also have to put God first, because without God, now again, we cannot be able to guide by our own wisdom, cannot take us anywhere.
Right.
And we continue still praying. And I believe the problem is also what Patrick said is true, but the problem is only that we did not have Kenyans when talk about the government when they were upgrading the state house, but they are talking because they are angry.
Let's give it to Patrick also to give us parting short.
Yes.
Who does the backstop with?
The backstop, let me say, it stops with good governance, not just good governance, enforced governance, where a country is run by the rule of the law, where there is effectiveness, where there is inclusivity, where people can feel included in governing the nation.
All right.
So that would be my, the last thing is that also...
In under 30 seconds,
yes,
Patrick.
The next thing I want to quote and to tell and to remind Kenyans that I understand and I know there's matter in court about elections.
Okay.
The IBC need to listen to us. The election is 11th of August 2026.
Oh, 2020.
No, 2026.
Okay.
According to the provision of our
We
constitution.
will delve into that and also break it down. To you, Julius, what do you have, where does the buck stop with when it comes to restoring sobriety in the country?
Okay, I will say candidly that the buck stops at the president's table. With him as the leader of this nation, he was elected by the Kenyans. He's the person that Kenyans elected. So you see, there's a former American president who used to put a note before his desk, and it would read, "The buck stops here." So, Mr. President, if you resign today, Kenya will not end. Kenya will not burn. You found Kenya here maybe 400 years ago. So, I'm saying
30 seconds, Julius.
There were also words that were said by former Vice President of Kenya, President George Saitoti, Vice President, that there comes a time when the nation is important than an individual.
All right. There comes a time where the country or Kenya is more important than an individual. That has been Studio B on the People Dialogue tonight. One thing just to break this down, is Kenya really headed the right direction? To you, Ian Keitani.
Oh, fair enough. Fiuma Sharia. Honorable Farah, let me come to you because we are winding up because of time. You wanted to respond first of all to the issue of the president constructing a church in State House.
On the president constructing a church in State House, this is my advice to the president if he's watching me. Please stop that and create 2 rooms in State House, prayer rooms, one for the Christians and one for the Muslims, period.
Pretty simple. Now, Wakili, let me come to you just briefly. It is 1 year since the 2024 Gen Z-led demonstrations. The opposition made its way into government, while Odinga's allies were appointed into cabinet positions. But 1 year later, the issues are still the same. Do you believe things have changed 1 year later?
You know, fixing a country is not a cup of coffee. America, which is 200 years old in democracy, is still struggling to deal with the race issue and the poverty issue. They still have unemployment. What am I saying? That we must recommit ourselves to this country every day as we wake up. And for us to do that, we must not be held hostage by anger, by tribal entitlement, and by manufactured outrage. We must be willing to sit down as a country and know that Kenya belongs to all of us, not a certain group of people, not a certain ethnic group. And that the Constitution does not protect noise. It basically protects life, liberty, and order. And for us to do that, we will need to respect the fact that this country belongs not only to one tribe, and that the elite from a tribe that feels that since they have been in power for 20 years, realize that other people also have a right to be in power. Thank you.
I'll accord you 30 seconds each. Honorable Farah, which way Kenya? Because we cannot continue like this when we are arguing.
My parting shot on that is that the only way for this country is dialogue, brother and sisterhood talking. We must dialogue as a country, and we must do all our problems on the table. We must solve our problems on the table, and our mother Kenya is like the house of your mother or my mother.
Okay.
We cannot throw aspersions in the house of your mother. The people who are throwing stones at the house of their mothers must reform.
Okay, pretty much.
So Kenya is headed in the right direction, except for a little political turbulence somewhere in some corner.
Okay, pretty
Otherwise,
much.
this country is headed in the right direction.
Pretty much. Okay, 30 seconds.
We must build a just nation, and we'll build a just nation by ensuring that all of us appreciate that we must share the pie that is Kenya. And we should not accept a cabal, an ethnic cabal that feels that they are the ones who must control the economy and control the politics of this country.
Fair enough.
That is my view.
Let me throw it over to Bentura Kwamboka. Bentura, what are Kenyans saying as we wind up?
Those are some of the interesting insights we're having there from our panelists. Some are saying we needed to have a dialogue for the country to move forward, and some are saying the backstops are the presidency in order to solve these challenges that we are having as a country, especially at this moment. Remember, the conversation was where are we headed as a nation? Where are we headed as a nation? And I'm going to read a few of your feedback as we close off this chapter. This is Omosh on Facebook, says hatuwezi kuendelea hivi. Rushwa kila mahali, ukabila umejaa serikalini na maskini wanazidi kuumia. Je, kweli hii ndio Kenya tulioahidiwa? That's Omosh, that's feedback from Facebook. Kimaru says, Kenya inaelekea shimoni, gharama ya maisha imekuwa ya kutisha, kazi hakuna, na viongozi wetu pia wanaendelea kutufanyia mzaha. Tunalia lakini hakuna anayesikia. Then Nation Lucas says, Gen Z ni vichwa ngumu sana, wacha serikali ifanye kazi yao, tuko sawa kabisa. Those are some of your feedback that you have sent here right on K24 TV on People's Dialogue. And at this point, we come to the close of K24 People's Dialogue, where we were asking you, where are we headed as a country? And is really the country at a crossroads? Thank you so much for keeping us company for 5 hours from 6 p.m. up to this time. My name is Bentura Kwamboka, and I hand you over to Ian Kaitani to close off this broadcast.
Well, indeed, thank you very much, Bentura Kwamboka, and to everybody who made this particular show a success. May God bless you. To our guests who made it to studio, we say a very big thank you. And indeed, we hope that we can find a solution to the impasse that we have as a country, and we can be able to move forward, because it is 2 years to the next general elections. That is when you can exercise your right and, of course, elect the leaders that you want. Thank you very much. Do have yourself a wonderful night. And like always, God bless.
TV Muthegi wa Rũrĩrĩ.
Na nĩ athĩnjirwo nĩ mandagĩtarĩ, na rĩu mũthenya wa